Hello and welcome to Cracking the Cryptic. Now we've been sent a classic puzzle by Priyang Tanna, who says that they have no idea how to proceed. This was described as an expert level puzzle on Sudoku.com. So let's have a go at it. It's quite an easy start with ones in rows 4 and 6, so the 1 in row 5 must be in that box, and 8s here and here give us an 8 here because of that 8, ruling it out from there. That puts us 6. The only place 6 can be in row 5 is there. And now we have the 2, 4, 3 triple. 6. Now that means that these two cells below the 5 and 9 must be 7 and 8. Sorry if you can hear some background noises. I'm on holiday at the moment in a bit of a port. We may hear some ferry noises as well as aeroplanes. Now those two 6s are giving us a 6 here. 4, 2, 5, 6, 5, 7, 8. 3 must be in one of those two cells in the top box, and therefore in one of those two in column 2. 3, 9, 6 is a bit limited up here, and that actually gives us a 6 there as well. It's not looking expert level so far, but I expect we'll get to a sticking point fairly soon. 3, 9, 7, 2, 5, right. 7 over here must be in that cell, given that 7 and that 7. 6 similarly is fixed. And that gives us a 6 up here, which resolves our 6s in box 2. That gives us a 5 there. That gives us a 3, 5 pair here. That puts a 2 in one of those two. 3, 8, 5, 6. Must have a 2 also in row 2 in the first box. 1 as well is a bit confined in that box. 6, 3, 5. Now, I still think we're going to have to get to the point where we have to do something more interesting. We've got a 7 as a naked single there. 9, 2s are limited again. 2s seem to be very limited throughout, which might be useful soon. 27. No, 7, 4, 5, 6, 9, 2. I mean, it can be very awkward when you've made good progress in a puzzle and you suddenly kind of draw to a halt, and that might be what's going to happen here, to be fair. And that can be sort of almost more disconcerting than struggling to get a start at the beginning of a puzzle, because then you kind of know some of the techniques you're used to at that point. But if you kind of dry up in the middle, it can be very hard to maintain the kind of ability to keep looking for something different. That may be what we need to do now. So, 8, 7. 8 and 7 in row 3 and 8 and 7 in column 6 act on this box at the top in a very neat way to force a 7-8 pair in those two cells. That's going to restrict where 1 can be as well. Now, is that 7-8 pair any more useful than just that? I don't know. I certainly wasn't expecting to limit a pair in cells that are offset, by which I mean not in the same row or column. And that can sometimes be helpful. What do we do next now? 1, 6, 5, 7, 8, 3 there, 2 there. 9. 9 could be in any of these top 3 cells in that box. If we were to put in exactly where everything can be in that box, unfortunately we've got a lot of 4 possibilities because 4 is very unconstrained there. So that doesn't limit anything down, I don't think. We don't have any hidden doubles or triples there. 2, 3. Ah, now this is interesting. This cell here, I think 281647, and it can't be 3 because 3 is limited to one of those 2 cells. So this is either 5 or 9, just as this is either 5 or 9. And that means that the remaining cells in the row are 2, 3, and 4. That one is either 2, 3, and 4. What does that mean for us? I'm sure that pair will be helpful. Now this notation I'm using here, I've deviated from Snyder notation, obviously. Let's see what would happen if that was a 9. That would force a 9 into one of these 2 cells. That would make this a 9. This cell would have to be a 7. Nothing else that it could be. That would give us 8 and 7 here. What else have we got that gives us 9, 8, 7, 5, 6, 1? Yeah, we could then finish off column 3. That original 9 that we placed made that one a 5 and that one a 9. And now 5 would have to be here. 7, 3, 9. I mean, this would be very limiting. These would now be 9 and 7 in an order determined by that 7 we got earlier. 3 now, that's the only place it can be up there. Got 1, 2, and 4 to place. 3, 5, 9, 6, 7. One of those is a 2. We knew that before. It does look very possible still at this point. This box is still incredibly empty down here. Maybe I should have focused on that at some point. 9s, 5s, they are quite limited. 7s, that's the only place a 7 could be, so that restricts that 9. And now it becomes impossible, just as we expected, I think, by going for a 9 there. So we'll undo that. And I mean, that's a decent old logic chain. I don't know how you're meant to pick that up on the old expert level on your phone, but it doesn't work with the 9 there and the 5 there. So once you've untangled those, you can make a bit of progress. We could use a uniqueness thing to rule out 4s from those, but that's not necessarily a great technique to be using when trying to explain things. So 3, 6 now, 5 and 2, 5 must now be here. 9, 6, 6. This is 7 or 9, that's 7 or 9, so 3 is in one of those 2 cells. 3, 4, where does 9 go here? One of these 2. But we don't know which one yet. Now let's get back to this, finding out where numbers go down here. Again, it's not as restricted as when earlier we had that 7 and 8 resolved, so it's not quite as straightforward as filling in all the numbers here, but 6 is done. No, indeed, it's not easy to resolve anything in this bottom box that was completely empty at the start and is still fairly empty for us even after the progress we've made. 4, that doesn't even have to be restricted to those. 3. Wow, this is a tough puzzle. I mean, it's, as I rather feared at the start, it's got very difficult after a reasonable approach to the beginning of it. And I have to make another logic chain to make further progress on it, which will explain why Priang was finding it so tough. Yeah, I don't have anything springing to mind immediately here. Let's see what we could do next. 1's restricted to a group of cells down there, but it's not all that helpful, I don't think. Well, let's try assuming that's a 7. And I think that's going to be the easier possibility to falsify up at the top there if it's not right. It makes that one a 7. You've got an 8 there now. And that makes one of these two an 8. And that gives us a pair there, which is interesting. That allows us to fix a 3 there. It gives us a 4. Now we can, these are 9 and 3, and we know that 3 has to be in column 2 there. 2 and 4, but we don't know what order for those. And now it's impossible down here because of that 9. So again, rather as expected, that doesn't work. So that we take that back to this 7 and 8. 7 at the top didn't work, so that is in fact an 8. And now we can make these deductions again down here about where 8s and 7s go. 7s are forming a pair with 5s, which is interesting. Now, how's that helped us up here? Well, it rules a 7 out from there at least. 6, 8, 5, 3, 2. 9 and 7 are along the top. Wow, I mean, this hasn't broken it open even yet. 8, 9, that's not a pair because this is still possibly a 9 at the bottom. That 5-7 pair, surely that's a bit more helpful than I'm recognizing so far. 5, 7, 6, 8, 9, 1. But I mean, the trouble is 2, 3, and 4 are very unfettered in that box still. Okay, 8 in this box now gets placed. So that gives us an 8 in one of these two. This is a pair of 1 and 4 in some order. But we kind of knew that anyway. 7, 4, 5, 6, 9, 2, 8. The trouble is this cell could still be a 2 or a 3. Now, somehow 3 seems quite likely to me. I mean, this really is difficult. There's just almost no way to proceed at any point without making an assumption and moving on. We've got this far and I'm still not seeing anything very clear for me, so apologies for that. Maybe it's just having been out of the swim for a while, but there we go. This does sometimes happen. Let us assume then, we'll make an assumption about 1 and 4 up here in that order. That would give us a 1, 9 pair there. That seems eminently plausible. We have 2, 8, 3 up the middle, but we don't know what order. These are 7, 4, and 9. And that gives us a 1, 2 there that we can write in, and that enables us to finish off this box. At the top, Does that get us there? Not yet. 6, 7, 2, 1, 5, 5, 6, 1, 8, 4, 2. Wow, there's no giveaways in this puzzle. That's a 2. Okay, so we can put a 4 there now, and that lets that box get finished. Now we know that we do have an 8-9 pair here after all. 7 has to be here, yes. Okay, so that resolves the 7-5 pair. That sorts out the 4-5 pair as well. The 1-9 pair there hasn't been resolved, nor the 8-9 pair, but coming across the bottom, the only place for a 4 in row 9 is there. That gives us a 3, 2, 4, 2, 1, 3, 2, and I mean, I think finally now we're on the home stretch, and I mean, what a puzzle. Like, constant trouble there. It'd be quite interesting to me to know if there was a brilliant technique somewhere that unlocked that, because it wasn't entirely obvious at all. But that's one way to get through the puzzle, Priyank. Not sure if that's going to be all that helpful to you. On paper, you'd probably need a pencil and a rubber to get through it that way. Several logic chains that needed to be attacked and resolved, and then you can finally get the puzzle done. Certainly was a tough one, and the expert level on Sudoku.com can sometimes deliver that. But thank you very much for sending it in. I hope that was interesting to watch, and certainly hope to see you again soon on Cracking the Cryptic. Bye for now.